guys, Impromptu Student back here with another video. This video number 2 on my channel, and today our main focus is going to be on O-level biology. So today's video is 5 tips on how you can go get those nice A1s for your end of years, mid years, or even your O-level biology paper. Tip number 1 of this video is going to be mark out all the repeated questions over your years or even in practice papers. So basically what I mean is, when you're doing practice papers or when you're even doing your topical TYS, you're gonna have some repeated questions over the years. And right now, I'm gonna demonstrate to you what I mean by marking out all repeated questions, and I'm gonna just put the video in right now.
Okay guys, so right now you guys can see that I've already marked all the questions that are repeated. So now I'm just going to show you a few of them. So for this, I'm using my O-level topical TYS, and so as you can see, this is a question I've marked. Define the term excretion and state its importance in the functioning of the body. And so right now I'm just going to use the topic of excretion for an example, because I find that this has a lot of the things I'm going to talk about in this video. And so as you look at this, so this is the first question that I marked. You can see the same question that's repeated over here, question 4a. So basically in your TYS, down here you have the question number and the paper year the paper was taken. So here is 2014 paper 2a, question 1, and then over here we have question 2011 question 2a, 2011 paper 2 section A, question 4. So basically, as you can see, this was a question from 2011, and this right here is a question from 2014. So as you can see that there's a gap of 3 years, and this can be observed in another trend I've seen. So the second question that I marked from this is this: describe and explain how reduced secretion of ADH would affect the composition of the urine. So this is 2014 paper 2 section A, question 1. And then now we have, if we come over here, we have the same question just phrased differently. So what I want you guys to do is mark every question that seems even remotely similar, and then just compare the answers. So this is 27 paper 2 section B, question 9D. So again, you can see from 2014 to 2017 there's a 3-year gap. So chances are some of these questions that you may have marked may come out again for the 2021 paper. So now, after you've marked those questions, what you want to do is you want to just flip the answer key and just find it. So excretion is the process by which and this is probably in your notes, and you just mark it. And so basically this is a question and this is the answer. So basically what you guys want to do is just mark everything, and then so over here I've written memorize and add to quizlet. The quizlet I made will be down in the link down below, so be sure to check it out. And so I just wrote, circled it and said memorize or add to Quizlet because it's repeated and there's a chance that it may come out for my paper. So I did it for the second one as well. So as you can see, just do this and just do this for every topic, and then you can easily get your A1 and you can excel at biology. I'm pretty sure this is the number 1 secret that allowed me to get my distinction for bio. So I hope it helps.
On Quizlet to kind of tweak the way you think, and you can basically make it much faster for you to recollect information and write everything down. So you'll become an info vomiting machine. So look at this. So how can the rate of photosynthesis be measured? So right now I'm thinking about it, and the more I remember about the topic of plants, then I remember it is usually measured by the number of bubbles rising from the cut end of an Elodia plant. Yeah, so usually measured by counting the number of bubbles rising from the cut end of an Elodia or Kapomba. So what that means is I need to remember cut end more, and what that does is it helps me kind of recollect that information in a faster way and more efficient way the next time I do this. So I'm gonna press I got it, and now we have a multiple choice question, steps to identify proteins. So what is the protein test? The protein test right now is the burette test. So it turns purple when there's during the presence of proteins, and the way you make it is by adding copper 2 sulfate solution to whoops so I'm guessing it's question number 3 and I need to study this again, so forgive me on that. So properties of dialysis tubing. So dialysis tubing needs to undergo things like diffusion and osmosis. So what that means is there needs to be a high surface area to volume ratio. So what that means is it needs to maximize the amount of space it takes, and it needs to make the most of the surface area. So what that means it has to be coiled and it has to be highly permeable. So that's how it works out. Yeah, dialysis tubing has to be highly coiled and must be partially permeable. So then you say I got it, and then after that, role of enzymes. Enzyme lower the activation energy required for a chemical reaction to occur, and therefore hence it increases the rate of reaction. So if I know that, that means I'm getting the top process right, and as long as I get the top process right, I'm able to attempt the question properly and stuff out. So the definition of esophagus. So the esophagus is a long narrow tube connecting the mouth and the stomach, I think. Esophagus or gullet is a narrow muscular tube that joins the stomach. So next time I need to kind of remember narrow and muscular need to be inside. So then I can kind of get that information faster during the exam, and this really helps me speed up the rate at which I'm doing the exam, and I have a lot more time to correct what I'm doing and fine-tune my answers. So that's basically another secret that I've learned in my years of taking bio. So next, definition of excretion. So excretion is the removal of excretion is removal of waste substances from metabolic processes that may disrupt respiration rate or something. Removal of metabolic waste and toxic products from the body of an organism. So basically just now what I was saying was the importance of excretion. So this is the answer, obviously. And what causes varying urine concentration. So from what I know is, for varying urine concentration, you need a higher concentration of something to be in the urine, and that something has to be urea and mineral salts. So urea is formed from proteins that you ingest. So basically you need to have protein-rich substances or excessive mineral salts in your diet to have a lower urine concentration. So urine concentration is affected by the intake of water, obviously, and intake of salt-rich foods and protein-rich foods. The person's health status also matters. For example, if the person had diabetes or kidney failure. So if the person has kidney failures, their nephron function won't be at 100%, and therefore not all the substances are selectively reabsorbed. And if there's diabetes, that means that all the glucose can't be selectively reabsorbed because there's too much, as the body cannot produce sufficient insulin, or the body is resistant to insulin. So type 1 and type 2 diabetes. So that would just cause not enough absorption of glucose in the proximal convoluted tubule, and that means that there's still some glucose left in urine. So that's what it does. So that's one round of it. So there's gonna be multiple rounds, and there's 75 that I've not seen because this is the third time I'm doing this. I'm kind of on my goal to do 3 revisions this year before my O-levels, and I feel like if you do 3 or 4 revisions before the O-level, I don't think there's a need for you guys to panic about the O-levels, because if you've done your studies and you've done your preparation, that means that you can really just go and just write the exam, because O levels shouldn't be seen as, oh, it's O levels, oh my god, I'm gonna die. You should see it as a normal exam, and you perform it like a normal exam and not like a panic buying kind of situation like we had last year. You can just take it easy and just write your exam if you've done all your preparation. So my thinking is that if you're nervous, it means that you've not studied enough and you need to study more. And if you're not nervous, it also means that it can either mean one of two things: you study really well, or you not study one bit and you're just winging it. So that's what I feel. So don't be nervous and just go. Right now I have my 2020 iPad Air 4 and it's an amazing device. And I believe that you guys might also have your own devices like MacBooks or iPads that you guys can use, maybe do practice paper. So this is really amazing site called SG Exams where you can get hold of notes. And I'm going to leave some links in the description below for bio papers that I found challenging and difficult, and you guys might want to attempt it as well. And if you attempt it like from easiest to hardest, it's not really gonna improve you as much. You need to go from hardest to easiest. So basically tip number 3 is to do more exam papers. So when you do more exam papers, right, you're gonna get a basic idea of how hard the paper is gonna be. And exam papers, school exam papers for Sec 4 at least, are usually harder than the O levels because they wanna prepare. So how I see it is like how Ngiam put it. So it's like if you're in volleyball and you have a net, the coach will set it higher before the game so that you can jump higher and smash it down. And when you're going for the actual game, it's actually got to be lower so that you can jump above the net and you're going to be like, oh, I can actually play volleyball and I'm good at it. But when you do the harder paper, it's just going to seem like, oh dang, I can't really do this and I can't keep it up and I'm not good at this. So basically the thing I urge you to do is do harder papers first and leave the easier paper for the last. So you might want to do papers like Anglo-Chinese or Fuhua or even that's the few I know. And after that, after doing the papers, the most important part is corrections. So corrections, right, you need to have a good grip on how answers are structured. So you want to have a few questions in mind that you know are going to come out, and you're going to have a few structures in mind. So in the next tip, I'm going to teach you about the structures, but I'll do that later, of course. And so when you're doing the exam, the most important part that you cannot neglect is do it with time. When you do it as a time practice, you're going to really challenge yourself, and what that does is you can actually have a feel for the stress and how you perform under pressure. And if you perform under a strong pressure for a while, it's going to get easier over time. And when you're doing the actual exam, it's not going to feel that bad and you're not going to be stressed like other people. So the times for section A, which is your multiple choice, that's I think that's 1 hour 60, which is 60 minutes. And then you have your paper 2, which I think is 2 hours and 30 minutes or 45 minutes. I can't remember. I'll link it in the description below. I'll put it up there. But up there or there. Hopefully I get it. Yeah, so basically do time practices so that you can test yourself from your Quizlet knowledge on how you can recollect that information quickly and efficiently. And it basically adds on to the extra layer, adds on as an extra layer of protection from your impending doom of the O-level paper that you definitely have not studied for and you haven't started your revision. Yeah, don't spiral. Yeah, so basically use your devices effectively by doing exam papers. And another thing is that, another extra tip is that you want to keep a cool head and maybe you want to go through all your notes first. So basically right now is the June holidays, so in the weeks following now, right, you just want to consolidate your notes, and then the week after that start doing practice papers. So you don't want to look at your notes while doing the practice paper because that will be against the whole thing. So do your revision before you do the paper and then do the whole paper at one shot. Don't keep it in gaps because then you become lazy and you just forget about it. And the last thing for this, right, is always do your corrections and take a longer time and cross-check it with the questions so that it will better be imprinted into your mind. And if you see any repeated questions, as I said, put it as memorized or put it in your Quizlet. Yeah, so that's the end. So tip number 4 for today's video will be keep revision time. At least 5 weeks before your exam, you should start revising already. And in fact, I usually start 6 weeks before my biology exam because I know that it's gonna be it's gonna have a lot of emphasis on content. And since bio has like 20 chapters, we're gonna have to learn all of them, revise all of them within 5 weeks. And you have to have time so that, like, for example, week 1, day 1, I'm doing respiration. Then week 1, day 3, I have to do respiration again. So that's basically spaced repetition. I'll link Ali Abdaal's video in the description below or up there. And so basically after you do that, you want to kind of use that time wisely because you have your other subjects as well. So if you start your bio revision earlier, right, then after that, in the week following that, you can kind of gauge how much more revision you need to do. And then after that, you can, well, excel at your exam. So if you have extra time, you can maybe use that to kind of clear out all your doubts. Like personally for me, I use my retrospective revision timetable. Like I'm an Ali Abdaal fan, so I'm hell-bent on using the retrospective revision timetable. And so if you use that timetable, it's really a breeze to kind of keep track of what you're revising.
Okay guys, so clip I recorded for tip number 5, I think, got accidentally deleted by my ass, so I'm sorry for that, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I